who are we dealing with? Who are these people we are dealing with? And how to defeat them? You understand? So Mordechai, just tell us a little bit, like, how did you come up with that information that these people, the same people that lie about flat Earth, also lie about the food industry and the health, services and the health in general, in the world. So what's going on?
In 2008, I got to, there was a banking crash, and basically I started realizing that there is a centralized banking system. And when I say centralized, I mean there is a corporation that actually prints the dollars, euros, whichever currency it is, and it's a private company run by not it's a public company run by CEOs and chiefs and all different kinds of executives, and it's got a model the model is basically there to succeed and make money, and basically to control. So I realized that there's also a centralized science. World science is centralized, meaning that only a few people decide what is right and what is not right. There's centralized medicine. There's centralized food. So whenever you hear about something centralized, you should actually start questioning it. Why is it centralized? And if it's so big and powerful that it is centralized and basically only a board of people have a say in what happens there, you should actually question it. And something about myself, I've got to say something about my personal self, is that in my early 40s, I started getting sick. Started getting diabetes. I started getting hypertension, pains in my joints. Basically, I wasn't feeling as good as I was in my 20s and 30s. And these were my early 40s. I was fairly, I wasn't married for very long at that time. But I started feeling like an old man. And I said, hey, this is something that's not supposed to happen. I'm just in my 40s. When I remember my father in his 40s, sorry, where he was just running marathons and he was doing much better than me. And I couldn't really understand it. And then the COVID broke out, and that actually inspired me to actually learn biochemistry. I've got a master's, but not in science, but that brought me to actually start learning unofficially. I'm centralized, basically, about biochemistry, and also something that is a new term now, which is called quantum biology. And basically, what it is just decentralized medicine and decentralized food. Anyway, so basically, I started looking into things, and I said, hey, everybody's promoting vegan. Maybe I'm not doing the right thing. I'm eating too much meat. I'm eating too much eggs. And veganism is the next best thing. Once you go vegan, everything goes away. You become healthy. Usually, if you go to the supermarket, if it says vegan on it with a little heart, or vegan friendly, then hey, that's good for me. I'm going to go ahead and actually try that because that's going to make me healthy. So then I went vegetarian, and then when vegetarian didn't work, I went vegan. And when vegan didn't work, I went raw vegan, meaning that I ate all my vegetables raw, basically. But nothing was really happening. I was only getting sicker and sicker. And, I was supposed to get rid of my diabetes according to all the different studies about veganism, but nothing really happened. And that's when I started learning about nutrition. And I started basically, it was just like an incident that where I got a little clip from a doctor named Ken Berry, and he's somewhere in the States, and he promotes uh, food. He promotes a diet that consists of uh, butter, beef, and eggs. And you know, if you're not Jewish, you can have pork also, but that's another story. Okay. Anyway, and the thing is, he was so confident in the way he spoke that he said, "Hey, listen, you know, if you do that, you don't worry, you don't have to worry." And his tone was basically decentralized. I heard it. I heard the tone. It's a decentralized tone. It's a voice that says, "Hey, listen, I know what I'm doing. I'm a doctor. Look me up. And if you're gonna do this, nothing's gonna happen to you. You're not gonna get hypertension. You're not gonna get your lungs are not gonna clog up. Your arteries are not gonna clog up." And then I started looking into things a little deeper, and then I understood that you don't really need to eat vegetables, fruits, or anything plant-based. But however, if you do eat plant-based, you will have to supplement with something that comes from the animal kingdom. And I said, hey, basically somebody is promoting, well, a centralized medicine or centralized healthcare system is promoting something that is actually not good for you. And when you think back, and you said it's all about control, when you say, hey, the best way to control you is through your mouth. You got to use it every day. You know, you got to eat. You got to drink.
It is written that you are what you eat. It's a known thing also. So, but this is
Yes,
crazy. What you're saying, what you're starting to say here. That's what I know, because you told me already. But to let people know that what's crazy is that when you say that meats and eggs or whatever, like fat and all these food that are known, are like widely known to be like nocive for the body, that are not good for us, because this is what we are being taught. You're gonna die from a heart attack if you eat like fat and meats, and you're gonna your arteries are gonna be clogged up, and gonna have cholesterol and all that. This is what I always heard. So now you're starting to say that actually it's the contrary. It's actually these things that come from the animal kingdom that are good for us. So okay, we're gonna develop now, but this is mind-blowing information, because it somehow it makes sense to go against the system, because today everybody's sick, so the doctors don't have any credibility anymore. They cannot tell you, okay, just eat this and this. This is good for you. And on the other hand, you see that everybody's on the is taking medicine today, from the youngest age to the oldest. So the entire generation of people is sick, and you have those doctors, telling us what's good for us to do and to eat. And so there is a logic behind it, but it's still like mind blowing, because it's hard to accept. But okay, keep on explaining us a little bit. So how can that be good for us?
When you learn that a big corporation actually owns the food companies, the drug companies, so big pharma, big food, and basically they're and also big insurance, right? They're all basically in the same bed together. They're all basically are there as a model to make you sick. And once you're sick, the model prospers, which makes a lot of sense for whoever is making the money. But then again, it's not about the money. Once we go into the actually mother of all conspiracies, which is actually the flat earth, because water is always level and contained. You know, that's what your brain tells you, but they tell you otherwise. Then you look into the centralized science authorities and you realize that they're basically all come from the same place. And then you look, once you realize that, you actually know where to look, even though sometimes they will implant controlled opposition,
Yeah.
like the Joe Rogan podcast,
Yeah. I know.
or the
I
Lex
saw that.
Friedman. These are basically, they want to, you know, hey, we're on your side, don't worry. But hey, we're going to still have a control because you think you're on the other side, but you're really not. So once you actually go down to the root, which is flat Earth, I think, you realize how you can actually benefit your own health, your life, your happiness, and your spirituality. And that's it. What you want? What does a man want? You know, wants spirituality, wants health, and
so that can
sure.
affect us. That can affect us not only like, you know, health-wise, but it can affect us about spirituality. That means that if you tell people that what they have to eat, you know, is good for them and it's not, so what's going to happen? So okay, you can get sick, physically sick, but also maybe spiritually sick, because you know,
Sure.
you know, you're Jewish, I'm Jewish, so we know things about you know, the way we live. That when we eat you know, certain things and we cannot eat other things, there is an entire system that is not you know, taught on in universities, but an entire system about the food, about, you know, what we call the souls, or whatever you know, that migrates within the you know, everything which lives, which is either animals or plants. But we know that you know, we are very, very careful, we Jews, about what we eat, not just about the health, physical health, but also about the spiritual you know, health. That means that there are some animals that, you know, are not actually very bad for the health, actually, you know, even healthy, that you know, but for the spirit they're not that good, because the spirit or the character of that animal somehow can affect you spiritually. But I don't want to go into this. But actually, maybe there is one of the reasons behind controlling people and pushing them to eat what you want them to eat, is maybe also for that reason, just to keep them to ever grow spiritually, to grow you know, in sanity. You understand? So it's possible. It's much more than just like making them sick, which, you know, they do, and they also profit from this. But maybe it's more than that, because the means are so huge that it has to be like you know, deeper reasons behind this.